Understanding how our own mind works makes all of the difference. Today, we'll talk about 5 empowering realizations that make you more responsible. The thing I love about realizations is that we don't often notice what's going on in our own mind. When we come to a realization, it brings it into a space where we actually have choice and control over whatever it is that we realized. I think you're going to see that as we talk through these 5. And the first one is that things are exactly as they should be. Hold on, could that even be true? A lot of times we go through our life thinking, oh, things aren't the way that they should be, and we feel frustrated and upset about things because we're assuming that things are not the way that they should be. How would you feel if you believed that they are exactly as they should be? Do you see how that changes things? How does this make me more responsible? Realizing that things are exactly as they should be puts me in a position where I'm not fighting against everything. We can still change things if things aren't the way we want them to be, but when we realize they are exactly as they should be, it changes our emotional connection to it. I've sometimes played with my clients in the office where I'll take a box of tissues and throw it across the room. And guess what? That box of tissues hits the wall, falls on the floor, sometimes things spill out. And then I ask my client, well, where should that box be? And sometimes they want to insist, well, that box should be over here on that end table. Well, that's where I normally keep it, right? But where should it be? It should be right over there on the floor, all broken and spilled open, by law. Well, what law? Well, the law of gravity, the laws of physics. It's exactly where it should be by law. That changes our thinking. Instead of insisting that it be where we want it to be, we recognize, oh, it is exactly where it should be. It changes our emotional attachment to it, and then we can take the steps through our own responsibility to rearrange things the way that we would prefer it to be. This might sound like semantics, but they're important semantics. The words that we use change our emotional connection to things. Things are exactly as they should be. Here's another empowering realization that actually happened to me multiple times. I almost hate to admit that I've done this more than once, but maybe you have too. Have you ever done this where you're out driving and you get kind of lost in your thoughts? You know, sometimes you're listening to a podcast or you're on a call or whatever, and you just go right past your exit. Have you done this? I have done this twice at the same place in southern Utah where I was going to see a client. And as I was proceeding to the place where my client lives, I realized I had missed my exit because I saw a big colorful sign. The sign said, "Arizona welcomes you." Arizona? That's not even the right state. I had missed my exit and ended up in a whole different state. How often does this happen in our life where we look around ourselves and we think, oh, this isn't where I wanted to be, not what I had in mind, this isn't what I had planned. And then I look down and guess whose hands I saw on my steering wheel? Yeah, these are my hands on the steering wheel. That bites a little bit, the realization that my hands are on the wheel. But the bad news is also the good news, because if my hands are on the wheel, what can I do now? Steer it, turn it, drive it, take it somewhere that I want it to go? See, that's really good news. It bites a little, it stings a little to realize, oh, I'm here because I drove here. But that's also the empowering realization that puts our own hands on the wheel of our life. That's huge. This next realization is one that is so important. I committed an entire module in my course, The Positivity Power Up. You can find that over at Live on Purpose Central if you want to check it out, on this particular realization. And it has to do with realizing what mode I'm in. There are two different options here. And by mode, I mean paradigm. Paradigm is the way that you see things. It's kind of like a pair of eyeglasses. If you put on a pair of eyeglasses, everything that you see is altered by the lenses that you're wearing. If I give you a pair of glasses that are tinted green, for example, what would the world look like to you? Green. You're living in the Emerald City. Your lawn looks awesome. Your spouse, not so much. But it's got a green tint, right? Does that mean the world is green? No. It simply means that you're seeing it that way because of the lenses through which you're viewing it. This is what I mean by paradigm or mode that your mind is in. There are two determinate paradigms. And the next powerful realization has to do with realizing which mode I'm in. Is it a victim mode or is it an agent mode? Which one? There's a distinct difference between these two modes. In the victim mode, for example, there's a constant blame that's going on in my mind. I want to blame someone or something else. It's not me. And then find that favorite target of blame. Whereas in the agent mode, it's responsibility. This is why it ties right into responsibility, the topic of this particular video. Responsibility is not blaming yourself. That's still kind of a victim paradigm. The responsibility I'm talking about is your ability to respond. In fact, in my book, I break it into two words, responsibility, to emphasize this point. It's seeing your own hands on the wheel. It's the ability to turn that wheel where you want it to go. That's what I mean by responsibility. And that's what comes with the agent paradigm. One other example, in the victim paradigm, it's all about why me? Kind of in a whiny voice. You've heard it, right? As opposed to the agent paradigm or mode where it's why not me? Why not me? Am I not just as qualified to take this on as anybody else? Do you see how empowering that is? And that's what allows us to take true responsibility in our life. Honestly, the next realization scared me. It might scare you too. It happened to me at a time when I was at a low point in my own life. I had been struck with some thunderous blasts of lightning, so to speak, financially and in my economic life. I was at the lowest point I'd ever been. And during this point, I had interviewed Mary Louise Zeller at Live on Purpose Radio. Now, Mary Louise is a beautiful person. In her 70s now, she is a 6-degree black belt in Taekwondo. This grandma can kick you next Wednesday. And she's such an inspiring, powerful person. She told me this, knowing a little bit about my circumstances. She looked me right in the eye and she said, Paul, the troops aren't coming. She paused to let that sink in and then she said, we are the troops. This is the realization that scared me. You know, at the time, I was, cowering in the corner somewhere, waiting for what? Who? To change, to save me, for the troops to ride in and carry me away. No, when she said that, Paul, the troops aren't coming. We are the troops. That's the realization that helps us all to be more responsible. When we stop waiting for this or that to change, the economy, the government, our parents, the people who abused us, whatever, how long are you willing to wait for all of those uncontrollable entities to fix your life? The troops aren't coming. We are the troops. It was about that same time in my life where I came to the last realization that I want to share with you that really empowers our responsibility. I need to produce more than I consume. More than I consume. Why is that? Well, do the math. If I consume more than I produce, I'm sucking and drawing on resources to support me without giving back enough to cover that. I have to produce more than I consume. Think about how this might change your life. Whether you're in a financial bind or a relationship issue or having issues at work or whatever it is, what if you were to start producing more than you consume, giving more than you take, serving more than you're being served? Now, a little caveat here, we all consume. We have to. We're mortal human beings. It's part of how we operate. I'm not saying you shouldn't consume. I'm saying you need to produce more than you consume. When I realized this, it put me in a completely different position to turn things around and take control of my life again in a way that is truly responsible. Produce more than you consume. I hope these realizations help you as much as they've helped me. You don't have to do this alone. If you've ever considered getting some personal coaching to help you to establish that life that you really can live and love, we're here to support you in this. I'm here to support you in this. I'm honored to be on your team. Take an opportunity right now to set up a breakthrough call with one of our coaches. drpauljenkins.com/breakthrough call. We're looking forward to having a conversation with you.
And then a child had a look into my eyes and never